Hi there, welcome to BB True Crime.
I am Becky and that is Beth.
That is us. So today we're on episode 9. And
Today I should be writing my assignment, but I am not.
We are having a little break time.
After writing the subtitles.
A little bit. She's done a little bit. It's fine. We're on episode 9 today.
Yeah, indeed.
Almost up to double digits.
Ooh. Excited.
Look at us making it.
Yeah.
So today we're actually covering Jeffrey Dahmer.
By request.
From my mama.
Good shout out there, Janet.
My mom's favourite serial killer, which is slightly questionable, but I can't comment.
You can't talk. You have a favourite serial killer too.
Yeah.
You have many. You have subheadings for different types of favourite serial killer.
Well, true. Yeah. I mean, we all know my favourite cult is the Jonestown. Obviously,
we all know
last episode.
One of your favourite is who's that? The woman?
Eileen Warner.
Eileen Warner.
Yeah, that's my favourite one. Go women. Anyway, we will cover that one eventually.
Sidetrack.
Yeah. So, get some snacks. Get some tea. Actually, maybe forgo the snacks and the tea.
Gruesome.
It's gonna get gruesome. We're being honest. Becky, my darling, knows nothing about Jeffrey Dahmer.
Not a snicket.
She has seen or read nothing to do with him, so this will be interesting.
It will be. I am intrigued as to what's going to happen. All I know is that Beth is smirking, and that's never a good thing.
Right, we're going to
So we're about to find out.
And she may regret this later.
It's quite possible, yes.
So, Jeffrey Lionel Dahmer.
Lionel?
I know.
No wonder he was a serial killer.
That's a pretty bad name.
Forgiveness for anybody out there who's actually a Lionel.
I don't think we know anyone called that, so I think we're good. He was also known as the Milwaukee Cannibal or the Milwaukee Monster.
Wait, I'm sorry, cannibal?
Yeah, we'll get into that. He was an American serial killer, one of the most well-known in history.
Oh, great.
And sex offender.
Oh, that's pretty.
Yeah. Who committed the murder and dismemberment of 17 men and boys between 1978 and 1991. When you consider, the fact that we were born in the 90s, that's a bit concerning.
That is a bit concerning. Although I'm not a young boy, so clearly I'm fine.
You know what? Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it was just guys. So, rip.
Sorry, guys.
Yeah.
Not really.
Us women, for once, are safe. Wow.
That's debatable, but yes.
I mean, from Jeffrey anyway.
From Jeffrey, but...
Yeah, good old Jeff.
He's also not roaming around openly either, so...
Well, not anymore.
Praise Jesus.
Many of his later murders involved necrophilia, cannibalism, and the permanent preservation of body parts.
We love pickled eyeballs.
So, nice little,
He's not going to have, pickled penises, are we?
Not that I'm aware of.
Excellent. This is good news.
Maybe he would have, gone up to that level.
Let's hope not.
Yeah. He was diagnosed with borderline personality disorder, schizotypo personality disorder, and a psychotic disorder. Though, however, he was found to be legally sane at his trial.
So man was fruity.
Yeah. So, you know what? We're going to take this all the way back to the beginning.
Oh,
to try and see where someone or something fucked up with Jeffrey, or if it just was meant to be.
Some people are just like that.
Yeah. So, Dahmer was born May 21, 1960, which, when you think about it, really actually wasn't that long ago, which is slightly concerning.
I mean, to be fair, if he was alive now, he'd be in his 60s.
Yeah, which is still pretty young.
Not for serial killers, it isn't.
Well, yeah, sure.
The serial killer age, that's kind of one of the OGs.
That's the I've gotten away with it age.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So he was born in Milwaukee as well, in Wisconsin.
Poor boy.
He was the first of 2 sons. I'd like to almost comment that the brother of Jeffrey Dahmer, after all the crimes and everything, he actually changed his surname and now lives in anonymity.
However, what?
Move on. Yes, so he does.
Fair. I mean, if I had a brother like Jeffrey Dahmer, I would.
However, his mum and his dad still would regularly visit him and still supported him even after he was convicted and confessed.
That's debatable.
Yeah. They also did not change their surnames. So he was the first of 2 sons of Joyce and Lionel Dahmer.
Lionel Dahmer.
Yeah. Not Lionel Richie, what a legend, but glad to know he didn't.
Segue.
Yeah, glad to know.
Segue there.
He did not birth a serial killer.
I am so glad.
Yeah.
Lionel Richie is a good bean.
Yeah. So sources report that Dahmer was deprived of attention as an infant. Good start. His mother was known to be tense, greedy for both attention and pity. Sounds like my nana. My mum would like that. My mum would like that.
Don't worry, that's an acceptable comment to make.
Or is it Tammy?
There's a few of them.
Abby. Oh yeah, okay, I'm just naming family members now. Moving on.
Just the family as a whole.
Yeah.
Just like she's an umbrella.
And she was also argumentative with her husband and their neighbours. So she's already doing great.
This is a solid start.
Yeah, it's
for young mother. Jeffrey Lionel.
Yeah. She also suffered depression.
Mood.
And would barely get out of bed.
Mood.
And even tried to commit suicide. Mood.
Notice I said nothing.
Yep. So Dahmer had actually been an energetic and happy child in the beginning.
Aww.
In the beginning. He had hope. For a little while.
Wow.
Yeah. But he became notably subdued after he had a double hernia surgery before his 4th birthday. No, I don't know.
What's the relevance?
Is a hernia in the brain? That could be it. Okay.
Wait, hernias aren't in the brain?
What's a hernia?
It's like an abdomen.
Oh, then I don't know, but yeah, apparently after that he was
in pain. Boy was in pain.
He wasn't after the surgery, but he was like.
But he would have been like
slightly
from like
quiet.
this. He would have been from like the surgical recovery, and like probably the experience was probably a little bit traumatizing. But loads of people have surgery, so.
So at elementary school,
delicate.
Yeah, Dahmer was regarded as quiet and timid. One teacher actually recollected that she detected early signs of abandonment.
Oh, relatable.
Yeah. So still not serial killer level, but like he had friends.
He's got trauma.
Yeah, a little bit. Not like nothing too spicy.
No.
Nothing really traumatizing happened.
We're kind of hitting like the peri spice level.
Yeah, like little.
You can tell it's there, but it's not.
Maybe like little lemon and herb level.
You mean yours, or do you go plain?
I go medium, actually. Fuck you.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought you were a lemon and herb bitch.
God, I mean disrespected. Right. So, from an early age, Dahmer actually had quite an interest in dead animals. Happy.
Stop referencing distant family members.
Sorry, it's too relatable.
Cease.
Yeah, so, that's a serial killer eye-opener number 1.
Love it.
His fascination with dead animals could have begun when, at the age of 4, hernia coincidence, I think not, he saw his father removing animal bones from beneath the house that they had. According to his dad, Dahmer was oddly thrilled by the sound the bones made. For one instance in 1975, Dahmer actually decapitated the carcass of a dog before nailing the body to a tree and impaling the skull on a stick in the woods behind his house.
That was an experience.
That was when he was in elementary school.
Did you just say elementary school?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
So
Can't say I've ever done that before.
Boy's fruity.
Yeah, it's definitely gone up to like solid medium now.
We're a solid medium,
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah. So
enough that if I saw this kid, I'd cross the street.
Yeah, that's true. That's fair. So now we're in high school.
Oh god.
Yeah.
Hormones.
It's all going down from here. That if there was ever an up. So from his freshman year at Revere High School, Dahmer...
So what, he'd be like 15?
Yeah, upwards, yeah. Dahmer was seen as an outcast.
As all the serial killers are.
Yeah. I mean, he did have I think he had like 1 or 2 friends. And
misguided people.
he got okay grades, so like it wasn't like he was a bad student. He was actually quite known as like the class clown, because apparently he would like pretend to have like seizures, you know, so funny. That kind of thing.
As the epileptic, I find that disturbing.
As my brother with epilepsy, I found that also. That's why I didn't include it, but I thought I'd just mention that.
That's fair.
Yeah. So by the age of 14, he'd begun already drinking alcohol.
Mood.
Beer and hard alcohol in daylight hours.
Wow. That's some fruity behaviour right there.
Yeah, when he was like with his friends, he and was drinking, he would actually used to call it his medicine. Alcoholic stage 1 reached.
Yes. Actually, I think that's solidly like a stage 3, like a dependency.
Good old medicine. It's not what I take.
It's not what I take either.
So.
And I actually have seizures.
Yeah. So now we're in puberty.
Oh,
and
God.
it's just deeper downhill from here, lads. He discovered he was gay. Which is absolutely fine.
Go gays.
Yeah. He did not tell his parents.
Serial killer gays, though.
Yeah, they're a bit like, oh shit. You know this is gonna get involved in the murders somehow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so he didn't tell his parents. I don't know if they ever really found out, or if it would have been like after the crimes. But yeah. So in his early teens, he had a brief relationship with another boy. They never had the sex though.
The sex though.
They didn't have it.
There was no sex though.
So Dahmer later said that he began fantasizing about dominating and controlling a completely submissive male partner from an early age.
Okay, well, you know what? Doming is a thing.
No, but they have to be completely submissive. No thoughts of their own. Only answer to him.
It's a little bit disturbing,
Like,
but
get
you know
yourself
what?
one of them fucking human-looking blow-up dolls. They're like really high-tech now.
They're fair.
Very
That's
realistic.
It's fair.
Get the guy a fucking robot. No.
Okay, he's not down for that. I don't think.
He's not.
I don't think he's down for that.
So the fantasies gradually became somehow intertwined with dissection. I'm gonna blame the like of dead animals for that.
But what?
I don't know what.
How?
Maybe like similar feelings with both. I don't know, the sort of intermingled.
Okay, you know what? We're gonna move on from that. Yeah.
So now he's at 16.
Okay.
He created a fantasy of rendering unconscious a male jogger that would frequently pass by his house. And he found this man very attractive.
No consent.
And then after he knocked him unconscious, he had the idea to then make sexual use of his body.
Consent was not given.
No,
Jeffrey.
It's not. So on one occasion, Jeffrey actually did hide himself in the bushes near his house with a baseball bat, waiting for the jogger to go by. Unfortunately, the jogger did not pass by that day.
Excellent.
Oh my god. That one particular day he was like, you know what, I don't feel like a run today.
Do you know what?
I feel like there's someone waiting in the bush for
me. With a baseball bat.
With a baseball
bat. Baseball bat, just waiting to
like orgasm all over my unconscious body. Or something.
And him. Probably.
Maybe. I don't know, but we'll never know.
I'm
so
traumatized
luckily,
now.
That's one victim. One would-be victim safe. So Dahmer actually later said that was his first attempt to attack someone. Later he would be successful. Not with the jogger though. Jogger. The guy made it.
He's lived to
just survive.
Marry and have children
and go on more jogs.
And he's running from something. I don't trust joggers.
Now it's running. I bet he was running from fucking Jeffrey now. His parents finally divorced in 1977 after having fights all the time. And then Jeffrey left home a year later.
Fair.
So his youth.
When you pause like that, it makes me worry.
He actually managed to commit his first murder.
What age?
This would have been about 16, 17.
What a promiscuous young man.
And this, even though it was his first murder, this was actually only found out about after all the other murders.
I'm not surprised.
Because he got away with it. Yeah. So, he committed his first murder in 1978.
Okay.
3 weeks after his graduation, so maybe it's like 17, 18 then.
Damn.
So, on June the 18th, Dahmer picked up a hitchhiker called Stephen Mark Hicks.
Stephen, no!
And he was only 19.
Stephen, no!
This is why you don't
go with hitchhiking.
You
don't hitchhiking.
No, it's so dangerous.
Not to mention you don't pick up hitchhikers either, because you don't know who you're picking up.
Exactly. Either way, it's a bad idea. Don't do it.
We've descended back into
safety.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, none of that.
No. None of it.
Just plain no. So he lured Stephen back to his house.
Poor Stephen.
Pretending that they were gonna be drinking. According to Dahmer actually told them about this murder.
Oh.
The sight of Hicks bare-chested at the roadside aroused him. Although Hicks, when they were together and talking, started talking about girls. So he knew that if he tried to, make any saucy passes at
he done not be gay.
Yeah, he won't be down for it. So after several hours of talking, drinking, music listening, whatever, Hicks said, to quote, Dahmer said that Hicks, about him, he wanted to leave, but I didn't want him to. So, what anyone would do in that situation?
Murder them, obviously.
Like, to keep them there. He bludgeoned him with a 10-pound dumbbell.
Excellent.
That's what everyone does.
That's what I want in life, yeah? Is just to be smacked over the head with a 10-pound dumbbell.
Yeah, because you don't want them to leave yet.
Exactly.
And now they can't leave at all.
Now they'll never leave me!
There's no escaping now. He later stated that he actually struck Hicks twice from behind with the dumbbell when Hicks was sat in a chair. So when Hicks went unconscious, he didn't die immediately.
Oh, poor boy.
Yeah, exactly. Dahmer then strangled him to death.
No.
Yeah, with the bar of the dumbbell. So this dumbbell was really used to full capacity here.
This really was. There was some. It was
prime murder weapon. Yeah. He then stripped all the clothes from Hicks' body.
Of course.
Before exploring his chest with his hands and masturbating as he stood over the corpse. Just normal sex stuff. Normal. Completely normal. Yeah. So the following day, Dahmer then dissected Hicks' body in his basement.
Love it.
And then buried the remains in a shallow grave in the backyard.
Great.
Several weeks later, he actually unearthed the remains and put the flesh from the bones down the toilet. Then he couldn't, so then he dissolved the flesh in acid and then flushed that back down the toilet. He then crushed the bones with a sledgehammer that he somehow had.
Just lying around.
Yeah. And then scattered them in the woodland behind the family home. Great times with the family.
That whole sentence was an experience.
Yeah.
Wow.
He really, really likes to go all out with the bodies, is all I'm going to say on that. So, 17, 18, killed a man already, as you do.
Yeah.
At that age, a little bit murder.
Normal development.
A little bit of spice.
Yeah. A little bit of spice.
He tried going to uni. Tried being keyword. But he failed pretty much all of his classes, and it was mostly full to his alcohol problem. And when his dad went to visit, his room was just full of alcohol bottles. So eventually he dropped out.
Look, I get it, okay, alcohol is a thing at university, but
when it's at that level,
moderation.
Yeah.
Moderation.
So now we're in 1979.
Yes.
He then involved in the army, where he was there for quite a while.
Why is it always the army?
I don't know,
It's
yeah.
always the army, isn't it?
In 1981, so this is, 2 years after, he was honourably discharged because of his alcoholism. Don't know why he was honourably discharged for that, but alright. He was actually a medic out there as well, funnily enough. Yeah. He was quite good at chemistry.
If you have an addiction in the military, as long as if it impacts in your duties but not in your conduct, they will discharge you honourably. Because they are like, right, you have an addiction, but as long as you say that you're like going to like recovery when you leave, they give you honourable, but clearly he didn't.
Well, he still got an honourable either way. So 2 weeks after his return from the army, 1981, Dahmer was then arrested for drunken disorderly conduct.
Wow,
no surprise there. And he was then fined $60 and given a suspended 10-day jail sentence.
$60 in 10 days?
Yeah, suspended, so he wasn't actually in jail. Dahmer's father, good old Lionel, tried unsuccessfully to get his son off alcohol.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
In December of that year, the man was like, right, Dahmer, you need to move out, go live with your grandma.
Get out of my way.
Because his father was remarried at the time.
Fair.
So,
talk about a cock block.
Definitely did not know about the bones in his backyard, but it's fine. Yeah, it's fine.
Rip.
So actually, he actually really got on with his grandma, and for a while he seemed to be doing quite well for himself.
What for is a while. With grandmothers?
Yeah. So, like I said, he was doing well for a while. Eventually, he lost his job there. But shortly before losing his job, Dahmer was arrested again for indecent exposure.
I am detecting a theme here.
Yeah, it's just slowly building. I mean, we've got to murder already, so like, I don't know if we can build back up to that.
But it's what he's getting caught for. It's getting worse and worse and worse.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So basically, what he was arrested for. August 7th, 1982, so about 2021 now.
Yeah.
Wisconsin State Fair Park, he was observed to expose himself in front of 25 people, including women and children.
Nice.
So for that incident, he was convicted and fined $50. Yeah. Even less than before.
50?
Yeah.
For showing his pee-pee to children.
Yeah. And women.
And women.
But also children. So after that little stint.
After that tiny little incident.
Yeah, the little oops.
A little whoops moment.
He then began to familiarise himself with Milwaukee's gay bars, gay bathhouses, gay bookstores, everything gay.
Do you know what?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. He used to frequent, the bathhouse a lot, but they eventually had to, ban him from coming because he kept, being weird and exposing himself. So not really a surprise there, honestly.
No one is surprised by this.
He also stole a male mannequin from a store, which... and you all know where I'm going with this, which he briefly used for sexual simulation. There you go.
You told him to get a doll!
You know what I did? That was my bad.
What you meant was he should purchase the doll. Not steal the doll.
Yeah, and then just stick with the doll.
And just stay there.
But no, he wasn't enough. However, and I blame the grandma for this entirely, the grandma discovered the male mannequin in his closet. And demanded that he discard it. So you know what? Grandma to blame there. Absolutely.
Completely. I blame the grandmother for that, yeah.
To be fair, he's already killed a man, so you know what? He was probably fucked from then on anyway, so fine.
He is a serial killer. I don't think we can blame anybody else.
So, beginning of June 1986.
Okay.
Mid-20s.
Yep.
It's gonna go down from here. So this is when he really just starts saying, fuck it. I need live ones now. So he started administering sleeping pills to people that he would have over. Also giving them alcohol laced with sedatives.
Jeffrey, consent was not given!
No. He then would wait for his partner to fall asleep before performing various sexual acts.
Oh, Jeffrey.
But he wouldn't kill them at this point. He would just...
Oh, he was just sexually assaulting them while they were unconscious after date raping them. Excellent. I'm glad we clarified that. Should we move on?
Yes, let's move on from that. Dahmer then read a report in the newspaper.
Trigger warning!
So he read a report in a newspaper around that time regarding the upcoming funeral of an 18-year-old
Oh
male.
No, don't tell me this is where I think it's going!
He conceived the idea of stealing the fresh corpse and taking it home. However, according to Dahmer, he did attempt to dig up the coffin, but found that the soil was too hard, and he inevitably abandoned the plan.
So we tried to dig it up, but it was too much.
Yes, it was, for poor little Jeffrey. Around that time, later, he was also arrested again for
This is becoming a common.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, for lewd and lascivious behaviour, for masturbating in the presence of two 12-year-old boys.
This reminds me of one of my science teachers who got done for that.
That is questionable. So, November...
We were banned from saying his name.
Understandable.
No one was permitted to utter the words Mr. Lavender.
Trigger warning for Mr. Lavender. So...
If you're out there, you're on.
I have a feeling he's not listening to this podcast, Becky.
Excellent.
So, November 20th, 1987.
Yes.
Dahmer. And this is where it all goes even further downhill.
Further downhill?
He's back in the groove, baby. He's back in that murder town.
Oh, yay.
Here we go.
Here we go, boys.
He encountered a 25-year-old man called Stephen at a bar and persuaded him to come to his flat.
Poor Stephen.
Well, actually, yeah, at this point he rented a room in a hotel in Milwaukee. So, the following morning, Dahmer awoke to find Stephen lying beneath him on the bed, bare chest. His chest was apparently crushed in and black and blue with bruises. Blood was also seeping from the corner of his mouth, and apparently Dahmer's fists and one forearm are extensively bruised, but Dahmer has stated that he has no memory of killing Stephen.
Probably because he was in a drunk, alcohol-induced rage.
Probably, yeah.
You'd be amazed what you don't remember when you've had that much to drink.
Apparently murder's one of them.
Clearly. You'd think that would be one of the more memorable acts in life, but still.
But also in court, because he couldn't remember killing Stephen and they didn't have enough proof that he did kill him for reasons,
don't say what I think
he did not get charged for that murder. He did get charged for others, but not Stephen's, so rip Stephen. I
hope you weren't looking for any justice, Stephen.
You didn't get any.
You didn't get anything.
You didn't, nah, sorry. Now we're on the disposal of Stephen's body.
Oh.
Favourite. He just really likes to go all out with the disposals. So.
Well, I don't understand. If he got done for the disposal of the body.
He didn't get done for a disposal.
He didn't even get done for the disposal of the body.
No.
He disposed of a dead body.
Yeah.
Without calling the police. Surely that should be illegal.
That is illegal.
Did he get done for it?
No.
Why not?
He didn't get caught for that.
But he clearly disposed of the body.
He disposed of pretty much all the bodies.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So forgetting the murder...
Right.
Ignoring the fact that we've ignored the murder. All we know is he's woken up on a body.
He has confessed to this, but he didn't get charged. Yeah.
How?
Right, think that through. Yeah, I know.
My brain.
So, Dahmer had, because obviously keep in mind this happened in the hotel. Dahmer purchased a large suitcase, which is how he transported the body to his grandma's house.
Thank you, Nana.
And then he kept it there in the suitcase for an entire week. So that must have smelled fruity. And then, so a week later, his grandma must have been out, because he finally was like, right, time to deal with the bad boy.
Time to deal with the bad boy.
Yeah. He then severed the head, arms, and legs from the torso. Filleted. Yeah, that's right. Filleted the bones from the body before cutting the flesh into pieces small enough to handle. He then placed the flesh inside plastic garbage bags.
Okay.
Then wrapped the bones inside a sheet.
Okay.
Pounded them into splinters with another sledgehammer. All I want to ask in this case is, where the fuck does he keep getting these sledgehammers from?
He keeps whipping them out of nowhere, doesn't he?
Literally. Why does everyone have a sledgehammer?
Everybody has a sledgehammer. Do you not have a sledgehammer?
In Wisconsin, apparently just everyone has them.
Do you not have a sledgehammer?
I don't have a sledgehammer.
I have a sledgehammer.
Like, that's insane. So, for 2 weeks after Stephen's murder, Dahmer retained the victim's head, which was wrapped in a blanket. But after 2 weeks, he then boiled the head in bleach and other acidy things in an effort to retain the skull. Which
to keep the skull as a souvenir.
Kind of.
Okay.
He kept the skull for a while for masturbation purposes.
Oh, why did you?
Oh, it's worse.
I was waiting for that word to come up.
However, eventually the skull became too brittle from the
to
bleaching.
Masturbate to.
Yeah, for his masturbation, so he had to pulverize it and dispose of it. Yeah, he was not charged for any of that crime.
Look, my guy, sometimes you just gotta throw your masturbation skull out.
It's just, when it gets too brittle, a bit too hard on the penis,
Can you imagine?
No, I don't want to imagine.
Probably nicked him, man.
And he was like, shit, I gotta throw this one out now, lads.
I need a new skull, boys.
I need a new item, lads. Like,
podcast.
Poor Stephen.
Can you imagine your body being I can't.
No, I'd rather
move on.
Not.
Move on.
So, following the murder of Stephen, Dahmer now is like, right, I enjoyed that a lot. Preferably,
I like that.
I need a new masturbatory toy.
Okay.
So he's now actively seeking more victims, officially. Yeah. Most of whom he either encountered in or close to gay bars. So specifically gay or at least questioning men. And most of which he lured to his grandma's house, as you do.
No. You need to have a word with your grandson.
Yeah. He would obviously, like I said, drug his victim before or after engaging in sexual activity with him.
I'm not even allowed to leave a half-empty mug on the side in my grandmother's house, and yet this man is allowed to.
Oh, he wasn't allowed. He was doing it behind his grandma's back, but she did find out eventually.
How did she not know?
Well, we'll get. Once he had actually rendered his victims unconscious with sleeping pills, he would then usually kill them with strangulation. So, after 2 months after Stephen's death, Dahmer encountered a 14-year-old Native American male prostitute called James.
That was a whole sentence.
Yeah. He lured James to his home, grandma's home, with an offer of $50 to pose nude for him, and for him to take pictures of him naked. The page engaged in sexual activity before Dahmer drugged him and strangled him on the floor of the cellar.
He didn't even get like a decent place to be strangled in.
No, he didn't. Dahmer then left the body in the cellar for a week without his grandma realising.
Nana probably came home early, man. You gotta like roll with the punches.
Is she not go into the basement that whole week? Or B, how does she not fucking smell that? I mean, like, what the fuck is that?
Bro, you know how well you can smell.
Yeah, but that's just me. Like,
it's
a dead body rotting in your house.
Maybe he had air
What the
fresheners.
fuck? Yeah, just shh. Every time I say, ooh, need a new, what them things you hang up called? puts one like under the door,
Yeah.
like the brand.
Yeah. Little air freshening hanger.
Yeah. Puts one like on the body.
Like hangs like 50,000 of them on the ceiling. It's just
just
fine,
covers
go
the entire
away.
door in them. Don't be suspicious.
Don't be suspicious.
I found like I don't know a dead mouse down there, man.
No, I don't know what you're talking about.
There is no weird smell. You're nose blind.
You've gone nose blind.
Yeah. So, after the 1 week of just James rotting in the cellar,
Rip James.
He finally dismembered it in pretty much the same way as he had done with Stephen.
Excellent.
Way over the top and definitely with a sledgehammer at one point.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's what we love to see.
He placed all of James's remains, not including the skull, masturbating toy, in the trash. The skull was boiled and cleansed in bleach.
And used for masturbation.
However, before he could use it to masturbate, it was again too brittle from the bleaching process. So he pulverized the skull 2 weeks later. Still kept it though, but then had to destroy it. So, it's already a journey.
It is a journey.
We got 3 victims already, so now he's officially a serial killer. So, we're on the next year, March 24th, 1988. Dahmer met a 22-year-old bisexual man called Richard Guerrero outside of a gay bar called The Phoenix. He lured Richard to his grandma's house again. Poor grandma.
Detecting a theme here.
Although the incentive was just to give him $50 to spend the rest of the night with him.
He bought that?
No, that was his original, just the thing he wanted to do with him.
Oh.
But obviously, life don't work that way.
Detecting a theme here.
He drugged Richard.
Of course he did.
With pills.
Yep.
And strangled him with a leather strap.
Naturally.
And then Dahmer performed sexual oral sex on the corpse afterwards.
Right.
Sexy.
Wow.
Yeah. He then dismembered Richard's body within 24 hours of murdering him. So maybe Grandma did get a little suspicious about the week-long smell down in the basement.
Maybe.
And then he literally just put the remains in the trash, kept the skull, and then kept it for several months, and then destroyed it. So, none of these guys are, like, having any respect for, like, their remains at all. So.
No.
Rip Richard.
Rip all of them, to be fair.
Yeah. So now, it's a few months later, we're in September 1988. Dahmer's grandma has had enough. She has reached breaking point. She has asked him to move out, mostly because of the drinking.
Again.
The habit of bringing young men to the house. And also the weird smells that come from the basement and the garage. Which is fair. Don't be suspicious.
I just need a minute. I just need a minute, because you have a grandson, right? Weird smells, many men.
You never see him leave.
What did she think was... What was going through her...
Maybe she suspected, but was like, that's my grandson, nah.
He can keep murdering gay men as long as he doesn't do it in my house.
Yeah, pretty much was, what happened there. Yeah. A up for the grandma, let's not. Yeah, so he had to move out of his grandma's house, but now he has his own flat. Yay. This is gonna end really great.
But he's lost the garage and the basement, which are excellent places for dismembering bodies.
But now he has an entire flat to himself, and he could just do it in the open.
Right, yeah.
So, he found a 1-bedroom apartment at 808 North 24th Street, still in Milwaukee, and moved into the residence in September. So 2 days later,
My God.
This bitch didn't even wait a week. He was arrested again for drugging and sexually fondling a 13-year-old boy, who he had lured to his home on the pretext of taking nude photos. Yeah. Things are going really well for Jeffrey. They're going so well.
This man's having a party.
He's having something. So after...
And nobody's caught a whiff of this yet.
To be fair, it's the 70s and 80s, prime time for good old murder.
But the thing is, this boy's living his best life.
He fucking is, yeah. He's just doing whatever he wants, and he's getting away with it.
He is.
So after he was arrested for that, he shortly then murdered his 5th victim, which was I can't speak today, lads.
You can't. It's all right.
It's okay.
It's okay.
We're used to it by now.
We are.
It was a mixed-race 24-year-old aspiring model called Anthony Sears, who Dahmer actually met at the gay bar earlier in March.
Okay.
So he lured Anthony to his grandma's house. Again.
Back here again, are we?
Where they actually had engaged in oral sex before Dahmer drugged and strangled him. The thing is, I'm just like, why is he back to his grandma's house? He's got his own flat.
He is, yeah. Why is that? Maybe he didn't think it was, like, practical to kill somebody in his house.
Yeah, well, he would quickly change that. Yeah, so, anyway, we're back at grandma's house for some fucking reason.
Back at Nana's.
So he placed the corpse in his grandma's bathtub, because why not?
Poor Nana going for a bath the next week and being like, why is my bath smell funny?
I don't think she wants to know. I really hope she moved out after he was caught, man. So he decapitated the body and attempted to flay it in the bathtub. He then stripped the flesh from the body, pulverized the bones, again with a sledgehammer, obviously. And then again, just binned them, the remains. Dahmer said that he found Anthony exceptionally attractive. And Anthony was the first victim for who Dahmer actually permanently kept any body parts. He preserved Anthony's head and genitalia in acetone.
I'm sorry, what?
And stored them in a wooden box.
Oh, no.
Which he later placed in his work locker.
Oh, no.
And then when he moved into his new flat, he took them there.
No.
Imagine just being a cleaner at his work. Clearing out his
what?
locker.
Imagine if he got fired. Yeah, and he hadn't cleaned out his locker. Imagine just opening that and just sealing, like, preserved dick.
And head.
That's a whole new meaning to the words pickled cucumber.
Oh, that's disturbing. I mean, he didn't have pickled cucumber, but he did have pickled dick.
Cucumber.
So, you know what? You weren't far off, to be fair. So, within less than a week of him moving into his new place now,
Okay.
Dahmer killed his 6th victim, Raymond Smith. Smith was a 32-year-old male prostitute. Dahmer lured him back to his new place with the promise of $50 for sex. Inside the apartment, he gave Smith a drink laced with 7 sleeping pills, then manually word of the day. Manually strangled him.
Can you imagine just being like, manually?
That's what I come from
I
Hawaii.
manually strangle you.
Right, anyway, the next day, Dahmer purchased a Polaroid camera himself.
Aww,
And
so
then-
you can photograph all his work.
Yeah, and then took several pictures of Smith's body in suggestive positions before dismembering him in his bathroom.
Right, okay, that's the bit I was waiting for.
There's more. He's in his own place now. He can branch out a bit more creative. He then boiled the legs, arms, and pelvis in a kettle.
How did he fit it in the kettle?
And that is exactly what I was thinking when I was reading that. I was like, damn, because I'm thinking of like our kettle and it's so small.
But you have to remember, the Americans, they don't have electronic kettles. They have the little things that sit on the hob.
But still, how the fuck did he
I don't
fall?
know.
Maybe
I
he did
don't
it
know.
separately. Like,
But how do you fit an
In
entire
peace.
man's pelvis into a kettle?
Well, you know, he found a way, bitch. He found a way. And
I mean, he did pulverize it, so maybe it's in lots of
Yeah.
small pieces.
true. Yeah, this then allowed him to rinse the bones in the sink. He then dissolved the remainder of Smith's skeleton, not including the skull, into a container filled with acid. Like a big barrel,
Yeah.
big drum.
Yeah, I see that.
He
see that.
later spray painted Smith's skull and then put it alongside the skull of Anthony on a black towel inside a metal cabinet in his house.
We love that.
Great send off.
That's great.
Yeah, it's got a bit
What
more.
a
fancy.
way
Spray painted it.
to end your existence.
Yeah. He became a spray painted skull. Like,
He was a glitter skull.
yeah, for decoration in a cabinet. Just on display.
I can think of no better way for a gay man to go.
Exactly. Wow. Wow. Amazing.
Glitterfied. Have your
Yeah.
skull glitterfied and put on a shelf.
Also, that's dope. We have no idea if there were glitter on the skull, but I'm just saying.
There should be. He was gay.
So, a week after the murder of Smith, around May 27th,
Okay.
he lured another young man to his apartment.
Here we go.
On this occasion,
Oh god, when she
Oh,
starts
so
laughing.
Dahmer accidentally consumed the drink with a sedative, which was meant for his male guest. When he woke up the next day, he discovered that his intended victim had stolen several items of his clothing, $300 and a watch. Incredible.
Karma's a bitch. But I love it.
Brilliant.
But
Brilliant.
I love it.
That was pretty great.
When you accidentally drink your own sedative.
Yeah. And then
Karma's
get robbed.
a bitch.
And then get robbed.
And then get robbed.
Which, amazing.
I'm in love with this guy. Who was this guy?
No idea.
Oh.
No, we don't know. But he was a bad bitch.
I want to just thank this man.
Well done.
Profoundly.
Well done. He escaped
Can
death
you imagine
and
being
got
out
money.
there, knowing that you were the man who robbed Jeffrey Dahmer
and lived
and lived?
to fucking tell the tale. Wow.
I want to meet this man.
So, June 1990. That is scarily recent.
I was 3.
1990.
Oh, I thought it was 1999. My bad.
Where the fuck did you get the extra 9 from? Oh god.
Honey, I'm writing an assignment. My brain doesn't exist. I was not, in fact, 3.
No, she
I would
was
like
not.
to just disclaim that.
But you were almost born.
I was nearly alive.
You were like getting there.
Well, my
Dahmer
parents were
then,
getting there.
well, yeah, disturbing. Dahmer lured a 27-year-old acquaintance named Edward Smith to his apartment. He likes the Smiths, doesn't he?
He does.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a little bit of anonymity.
Yeah. He drugged and strangled Smith, no surprise. However, rather than immediately acidifying the skeleton, or repeating, the processes of bleaching,
Yeah. He'd learned from his mistakes,
hopefully. He was like, right, I'm gonna branch out a bit, do some new stuff. I'm in my own crib.
We're happy
living my best
for
life.
him.
He placed the skeleton in his freezer for several months.
Maybe he just couldn't be bothered.
With the chicken, probably.
Can you imagine going in there to get your dinner?
Yeah.
Oh, Friday night dinner.
See you there,
It's not the fox, it's a human.
Oh, the chalk icing.
The chalk ices. We need help.
But he accidentally destroyed the skull when he put it in the oven to dry so that he could masturbate. But unfortunately, when he put it in the oven, it exploded.
Did you not know that, like, when you freeze
Skulls,
the
Yeah.
tissue expands, and when you apply directly and it contracts and it causes an explosion?
he just wanted to masturbate back in.
Okay,
With
alright.
the skull. That's all he wanted.
It's all he wanted in
And
life.
he didn't get it, so.
Well, I can't say I'm overly sad about that.
Well, you will be overly sad because he couldn't masturbate
went
with that, he had
and
to go
killed
get
somebody
another one.
else,
Yeah. So less than 3 months after the murder of Smith, Dahmer encountered a 22-year-old named Ernest Miller. He agreed to accompany.
Ernest.
Yeah.
There was
Ernest
some
agreed-
wild names in the 90s.
There is. And the 80s, yeah.
And the 80s.
He agreed to come with Dahmer to his apartment for $50.
That was his first mistake.
Yeah. But Dahmer was running a bit low on the sedatives. He only had 2 sleeping pills. So, you know, as you would do in that situation, he killed Miller by slashing his carotid artery with the same knife he used to dissect his victims' bodies.
Man's practical.
Yeah. You know, you gotta, you know, reuse. Waste not, want not.
Exactly.
Obviously Miller bled to death within minutes. And then Dahmer was like, time to take some saucy photos.
Oh, God.
You know, yeah. And then put it in the bathtub again to be dismembered. But while he was dismembering the body, he was repeatedly kissing him and talking to the severed head. As you do.
This man's not stable. Sorry, this is your mother's favourite serial killer?
Yeah. Yeah. But the thing, he's not done with Miller yet. You will think he's done with him. He's not, Becky, because he hasn't had, like, that much
Sexual
craziness.
Yeah.
Like, with dismembering his body.
Oh, dear.
So, right, now we've been and kissed the severed head. He then wrapped Miller's heart, biceps, and portions of his flesh from his legs in plastic bags and put them in his fridge for him to have later. Questioning your life a bit.
For those of you who can't see me, I'm currently praying to whatever gods are available to give me the strength to understand what the actual fuck.
Yeah. Yeah, there is no idea. He then boiled the remaining flesh and organs into a jelly-like substance. And we had jelly earlier.
You were slapping that boy.
Oh, God.
It's probably red as well.
Which also then helped him to rinse the flesh off the skeleton, which he intended to keep. To preserve the skeleton, he placed the bones in a light bleach solution this time for 24 hours, before allowing them to dry on a cloth for a week, just in the middle of his house.
Can you imagine just walking in and being like, oh,
there's a skeleton.
That's a skeleton.
That's a very realistic one.
How impressive. How much was that? It was free.
$50.
Oh, didn't yeah, but he didn't actually pay me.
No, he didn't. The severed head was then placed in the fridge, before then being stripped of flesh, painted and coated with enamel, and, you know, placed in his little cabinet again. Now he's got three skulls. Amazing.
How many people did you say he killed?
I think he did like 16, 17.
Oh my God.
But this is his third skull for decoration. So, and probably the odd bit of masturbation.
The odd bit of masturbation? Odd bit?
Yeah. So 3 weeks after Miller, December 24th, he encountered another 22-year-old man called David Thomas. Persuaded him to come back through his apartment for a few drinks.
Poor Dave.
And said he would give him additional money if he would pose for photographs. He
did.
Well, he strangled him and dismembered him.
Oh,
obviously.
There we go. Obviously.
Yeah,
there we go.
Bit of a pattern here. Intentionally retaining no body parts whatsoever, for some reason.
Maybe he just didn't fancy him as much.
Yeah, maybe. He did also photograph, not the body, but the dismemberment process. And did keep those photos, though.
Sometimes you just gotta remember that time that you dismembered a body.
Yeah, you know, like, it was not his first time, but, you know, it's gotten better. I appreciate your achievements.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Posterity.
Yeah.
You know?
Remember those memories. So February 1991,
Dear God.
Dahmer saw a 17-year-old named Curtis Straughter. He lured Curtis into his apartment with offer of money for posing for the photos again, with the added incentive of sex. However, Dahmer drugged Curtis, cuffed his hands behind his back, and then strangled him to death with a leather strap. He then obviously dismembered him, kept the young person's skull, hands, and genitals.
Oh, back to the PPs again.
And then also took photos of every stage of the dismemberment process.
He's getting worse.
Yeah, a little bit. So, April 7th, he encountered a 19-year-old called Errol Lindsay.
Great.
Dahmer lured him to the apartment, drugged him, And this is the first time he did this, but this is one of the things that he's infamous for doing.
Oh.
So he drilled a hole in the victim's skull while the person was still alive.
Trepidation.
And poured hydrochloric acid into the hole in his skull.
Oh!
According to Dahmer, Errol Lindsay woke up during this happening and said, "I have a headache. What time is it?" In response to this, Dahmer drugged him again, then strangled him. He then decapitated Lindsay, retained his skull, flayed his body, placed the skin in a solution of cold water and salt for weeks in the hope of permanently retaining it. Unfortunately, did not work. He had to bin it. That one was a journey. So do you try and do you understand why he's drilling a hole and pouring acid in his alive victims?
No, why?
Do you remember it at the beginning when he started first having fantasies about people?
Yeah.
And he said he wanted someone completely submissive who he could have control over all the time.
Wait, so he was trying to get rid of them, like they're, make them fully submissive?
Yeah.
While still being alive?
Yeah. That he's trying to basically make his own little sex slave. Who has, no conscience, but can still be alive and do the things he wants them to do, without question.
Wow.
Yeah. So, yeah, he's in the experimental process right now. I'm surprised it took him this long to start trying this, to be honest. So poor Errol, he went through something.
That was, yeah.
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 So now we're in 1991.
Okay.
The people that also lived in this apartment block had now repeatedly started complaining to the building manager about the foul smells coming from apartment 213.
Which I'm guessing was his.
Yes, it was. Yeah. In addition to the sounds of numerous falling objects and the occasional sound of a chainsaw.
Somebody please explain to me why there was nobody concerned about the fact there was a chainsaw.
Apparently not. It's Wisconsin. I don't know if chainsaws are used in buildings that often.
With the frequency of fucking sledgehammers, apparently.
Yeah, no one really bat an eyelid with that. They were just like, "Oh, there's another chainsaw going off. Cool." In an apartment, it's completely normal.
Yeah, why the hell not?
Apparently, the building manager did go up to his apartment a few times, and Dahmer was like, he came up with a few excuses. One of them was like, "Oh, my fish died and I'm just clearing it out." And the manager believed him.
Manager was a moron.
Yeah. So, May 26, 1991, he encountered a 14-year-old teenager named Conorick. Unknown to Dahmer, he was actually the youngest brother of the boy who he had molested in 1988. Yeah.
What is the
They all know
likelihood?
Everyone in Wisconsin,
What is
guys.
the likelihood?
He approached Conorick with an offer of money, again, to come back to his apartment to pose for some saucy photos.
Okay.
According to Dahmer, Conorick was reluctant at first, but
Understandable.
changed his mind and went with him to the apartment, where he did in fact pose for 2 pictures in his underwear before Dahmer drugged him into unconsciousness and performed oral sex on him. Dahmer then drilled a single hole into his skull.
Mm-hmm.
He injected this time hydrochloric acid. Before the boy fell unconscious, Dahmer led him into his bedroom, where the body of 31-year-old Tony Hughes, whom Dahmer had killed 3 days earlier, was still laid naked on the floor. Yeah. So Dahmer went out, he nipped out some booze, came back, and keep in mind that this boy was still alive, despite having acid in his brain. He came back to the flat to find Conorick outside on the streets talking to 3 women. Yeah, he was out the place. He was out. So they called the police, and then the police came, and the police were like, "What's going on here?" what is with this boy with handcuffs and like he's bleeding and like he's out of it. And then Dahmer is like, oh, he's just really, really drunk. Obviously.
Clearly.
Despite, but you know, the police believed him and let him take Conoric back up to his flat.
Conoric, you were so close, my guy.
He was very close. Even though Conoric had blood leaking from his rectum, testicles, and struggled against Dahmer when Dahmer was trying to get him back inside. They let him go. So you know what? The police, that's on you. So when he got back up there, it was not looking good for Conoric.
No, it was
he
not.
Again, well, you know, he wasn't very happy about the escape. So he again injected more acid into his brain. This time, the injection was fatal. The following day, May 28th, Dahmer took a day off from work to devote himself to the dismemberment of all these bodies he had like piling up in his flat. He kept both victims' skulls of Tony and Conoric. But then was fired shortly after that for taking a day off. If only they knew for what reason.
If only.
So, June 30th, he encountered a 20-year-old named Matt Turner. Turner accepted his offer to travel to Milwaukee for a professional photo shoot. They've become professional now. Dahmer drugged, strangled, dismembered Turner, placed his head and internal organs in separate plastic bags in the freezer, along with that skeleton. I don't know if that skeleton's still in there, but probably.
That's a full freezer, man.
Yeah. Turner was not reported missing. 5 days later, July 5th, he then lured a 23-year-old, Jeremiah, from a Chicago bar to his apartment on the promise of spending the weekend with him. He drugged him, twice injected boiling water through his skull. So he's trying out different things now in the skull to see if it'll make it work. Sending him into a coma, which he died 2 days later. These guys are not having a great time. They're not. July 15th, Dahmer encountered 24-year-old Oliver Lacey. Lacey agreed to the nude photos and went with him to the apartment. The pair engaged in sex before Dahmer drugged Lacey, strangled Lacey. He had sex with the corpse after Lacey died, dismembered him, and then placed Lacey's head and heart in the fridge and a skeleton in the freezer. His freezer, I swear to God, must not have a single food item in it. Not a single piece. Because now he's got 2 skeletons in there.
We don't have to worry about the frocks and the choc
and the fucking head.
Because there's just too much in there.
He's fucking took the choc ices out to put another skeleton in. Like, good God, how big is his freezer?
Unnecessary is what it is.
Yeah. America, what's your problem with, like, just big items? Christ. Then, Dahmer lured 25-year-old Joseph to his apartment. He was then strangled, left lying on Dahmer's bed, covered with a sheet for 2 days. When Dahmer came back on July 21st, he removed the sheets to find the head covered in maggots because he had decapitated the body. He then cleaned the head, placed it in the fridge, as you do, acidified his torso along with the 2 other victims killed in the previous month. It's all happening. Very busy life.
This guy is just all over the place.
He is like the 1990s, this guy were just so chaotic. July 22nd, 1991. He approached 3 men with an offer of $100. Fucking up the bill now. He ain't got a job.
Did he say men?
Yeah, he approached 3 men.
Oh, that's one.
With an offer of $100 to accompany him to the apartment for the nude photos. One of the trio, 32-year-old Tracy Edwards, actually agreed to go with him. The other 2 did not.
Clever boys.
Upon entering Dahmer's apartment, Edward was already a bit like, this is a bit weird. He noted a very foul odour in the flat and several of boxes of hydrochloric acid on the floor. Dahmer then unsuccessfully attempted to cuff his wrists together. And Edwards also saw a blue 57-gallon drum in the corner of his room, from which a very strong odour came from. Just no idea what's in there. No idea.
I don't know whether I want to know.
Dahmer, so he has not killed
No,
Tracy yet.
he has not.
He then brandished a knife and informed Edwards that he was going to take new pictures of him. By this point, Tracy does have handcuffs on.
Okay.
But is fully awake. No sedatives, nothing. He then placed his head on Edwards' chest, listened to his heartbeat, and informed Edwards, "I intend to eat your heart." Normal. By this point, they were in the living room. Edwards rose from the couch and he noted that Dahmer had finally taken off his handcuffs after a lot of persuasion from Tracy. Okay. Being like, "I'll definitely stay, I'm your friend, blah, blah, I'll do whatever you want." Edwards then punched him in the face.
Yes!
Knocked Dahmer off balance and ran the fuck out the front door.
Good boy.
So, that same day, July 22nd, Edwards flagged down 2 police officers. They noted that Edwards had handcuffs attached to his wrist. The officers and Edwards arrived at the apartment. Dahmer actually invited the trio inside. They were like, "Did you put handcuffs on this man?" He was like, "Yeah." They were like, "Why?" He was like, "Dunno, felt like it." No explanation. So one of the officers was called Mueller. He noted that there was a very large knife beneath the bed. Kinky, sure. He did also then see an open drawer, which, when he looked closer, actually contained a lot of Polaroid pictures, many of which were human bodies in various stages of dismemberment, all from the decor in the photos he noted was from the very same apartment that he was currently stood in. Yeah.
That is alarming.
So, Mueller took these Polaroids. Dahmer saw that he did. Then Dahmer tried to fight with the officers.
For his Polaroids?
No, in an effort to resist arrest. Because he knew it was pretty much done now. Mueller then, oh lord, open the fridge.
Oh, there we go.
You don't want to do that, Mueller. Oh lord. To reveal the freshly severed head of a black male on the bottom shelf. A total of 4 severed heads in Dahmer's kitchen. A total of 7 skulls, some painted, some bleached, were found in his bedroom, inside a closet, ready to become a shrine. Investigators then discovered collected blood drippings on a tray at the bottom of his fridge, plus 2 human hearts, a portion of arm muscle, each wrapped inside plastic bags upon some shelves. Dahmer's freezer, they discovered an entire... The freezer! The fucking choc ices, man. They discovered an entire torso, a bag of human organs and flesh stuck to the ice at the bottom. Investigators then discovered 2 entire skeletons, a pair of severed hands, 2 severed and preserved penises, a mummified scalp, and in the 57-gallon drum, 3 further dismembered torsos dissolving in acid solution, and a total of 74 Polaroid pictures detailing dismemberment of his victims. Good God! Is that better or worse than Ed Gein? And his fucking house of human skin and shit.
Worse, I think.
Yeah, I feel like this is worse. Yeah. Dahmer confessed to...
Shocking!
Yeah, he was like, "Yeah, I did, bro." He confessed... Well, he was actually trying to say that he was insane. Yeah, fair.
Yeah, you know what, I believe that.
But you know what, he still, like when he persuaded the police that one was drunk. Intentions, man. It's a bit
no.
Yeah. He then also confessed to consuming the hearts, livers, biceps, and portions of the thighs of several victims he'd killed.
Thigh bone.
Yeah. within the previous year, often tenderizing the flesh and organs. He stated that he'd also been in the process of constructing a private altar, which was made of his victims' skulls, which he intended to display on the black table in his living room. Also, the altar they were like, what would it be like the altar being like dedicated for? And he was like, me. Fair enough.
I love the confidence, though.
Fair enough.
I love me.
I dedicate this to me.
It's like that awards that. It's like that award that who was it received? It's like, first of all, I'd like to thank myself for getting me here for all my hard work.
Yeah, that's Jeffrey Dahmer. Yeah, quite literally. So, 1991, end of the year, Dahmer was actually finally charged with 4 counts of first-degree murder.
Okay.
By August 27th, he'd been charged with a further 11.
Oh my god.
A forensic psychologist diagnosed him with necrophilia, borderline personality disorder, schizotypal personality disorder, alcohol dependence, and a psychotic disorder. He was also found to be sane in court after a trial. He was sentenced to life imprisonment plus 10 years for the first 2 counts, with the remaining 13 counts carrying a mandatory life sentence plus 70 years. So, fuck ton. The death penalty, I don't even think he was in his 30s though when he was imprisoned. I think he was in his 20s.
Jesus.
The death penalty was not an option, unfortunately, for the judge to consider, as Wisconsin has actually abolished capital punishment in 1853. Unfortunately.
So sad.
For the first year of his incarceration, Dahmer was actually placed in solitary confinement due to concerns for his physical safety from other inmates.
Because he's a crackhead?
Yeah. However, this was eventually lessened when people chilled out. So he was allowed to have one of them jail jobs. July 3rd, 1994, a fellow inmate, Osvaldo Durruti, attempted to slash Dahmer's throat with a razor embedded in a toothbrush as Dahmer sat in the prison chapel after the weekly church service was concluded. He only received superficial wounds and was not seriously hurt in the incident.
Jeez.
But he was not put back in solitary confinement.
Good.
However,
kill him.
November 28, 1994, year before you were born.
So what did you say?
Year before you were 95? Right? No, it's 96, isn't it?
Don't make me a year older than I am, bitch.
Dahmer left his cell to begin his work job. There were 2 other fellow inmates that were with him to do that.
Okay.
One was called Jesse Anderson, and the other one was called Christopher Scarfer. The trio were left... Trio, love that. The trio were left unsupervised in the showers of the prison gym for approximately 20 minutes. At approximately 8:10 in the morning, Dahmer was discovered on the floor of the bathrooms of the gym, suffering from extreme head wounds. He had been severely bludgeoned over the head and the face with a 20-inch metal bar.
Excellent.
His head has also been repeatedly struck against the wall in the assault. Also, the Anderson guy was dead as well. Although Dahmer was still alive and rushed to a nearby hospital, he was pronounced dead 1 hour later. September 1995, Dahmer's body was cremated and his ashes divided between his parents.
Here's the left half of your son and here's the right half of your son.
Have fun! The Oxford apartments where Dahmer killed 12 of his victims was demolished in 1992 in November. It's now a vacant lot.
Good.
And that is the end of Jeffrey Dahmer. I do have some pictures.
Oh, there we go. It's my favourite bit.
This is Dahmer. So whenever I'm at work and I see these glasses,
automatically we turn around.
I always make sure to tell the customers that they're giving me a very Jeffrey Dahmer look right now. So we don't sell many of those.
Oh my God.
It's the glasses for me.
Move on.
These are all of his victims. That were known about anyway.
Damn.
Yeah.
A lot of them. Oh my God, there's a head.
I should have warned you. I was like, I don't know.
Where's the warning?
Right, first of all, bloodied mattress.
There's a head. She just scrolled down and there's a head.
There is a disemboweled head. Dismembered
hands.
hands, and there's a little penis. Which, with it looks like a condom on. Probably had been used.
That could just be the head of the penis, honey. That's a very low down rubber line for the condom.
True, and then there's the barrel, which some more torsos were in. So, how do you feel about Jeffrey Dahmer?
I have a lot of feelings. I don't know where to start.
My mum's favourite serial killer.
First off, Janet, are you okay?
That's
Because wow.
No.
Wow.
Yeah.
It was an experience.
Are you mentally okay?
I don't think so.
No, that's fair. That's fair.
I don't think I'm ever gonna be okay.
After that one.
No.
Is it better or worse than Jonestown? Or just as bad?
I think Jonestown is its own separate.
Yeah, we separating the cults, okay.
Honey, that was a massacre.
Yeah,
not a serial killer.
To be fair, you're not gonna find a cult worse than Jonestown. So no matter what cult we do, at least you'll know
But
that.
the thing is, 918 people.
Correct. Well done. Yeah. That was something else.
How do you compare the two?
No other cult.
This is oh my god.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was an experience. Yeah,
he got punked. He got destroyed in the end.
Excellent. We stand that. You know, people.
Because, you know, there's been a few serial killers, you know, like the Yorkshire Ripper, that kind of thing, who got to, like, live out their lives in jail. Dahmer was not given that chance. Nah.
We stand that.
Granted, he was not given the death penalty, which most of the other serial killers were.
But I'm quite happy that the prisoners took it upon themselves.
Yeah,
you know?
they did, yeah.
Because when you get a serial killer like him and he doesn't get the death penalty, sometimes you just have to fix people's mistakes.
And there was a lot of underage people in that to do with Jeffrey. So, this has been episode 9 of BB True Crime.
I am Becky. That is Beth. I am traumatized. I also have an assignment that I need to finish.
Which we will do now.
Rip me. This was an interesting break. She was like, do you want to have a break? I was like, yeah, okay. I sit down and she's like, let's talk about serial killers.
It excites me.
I need more tea after that.
Yeah, same. So, join us next week for episode 10.
The big 1-0.
Woo!
We're going to be getting some special takeaway.
Yeah.
Make sure you have some good snacks because it is an occasion.
Double digits, lads.
We may have to get some donuts in. We did say we were going to get donuts
Milano are officially not doing donuts anymore. Rip.
But.
I'm going to kill myself.
Dukes.
You know, it's not the same.
It's not the same.
No.
Alright, this woman's just done now.
Right, anyway, we're going to go argue about donuts.
We are.
So, peace out, lads.
Y'all have a good week.